Hella Cinema back, another dish. How we doing out there? Good, great, grand, and wonderful. God damn, this is the worst ran show in the history of podcasts from a technical aspect. Well, probably from a talent aspect too. I'm also garbage. But man, some of you so-called professional podcasters out there, or ones who really are good ones. So let's just say like Last Podcast on the left. They, from a technical aspect, and they got their shit together. Whereas I get all these guests, and boy, my audio. Whew. Now, on some level, I hate doing Zoom meetings because you only get one channel of audio. That's whatever, but. The way that I do my shit, it's just a lot easier if we do like a group Skype call or something, because it's a lot easier for the audio to pipe in. And, I know there's some higher ups that give me shit to watch and cover, review, and they listen to the show, and, the audio, you're fine, but, your guests kind of come in and out. I can't, on a Zoom, I can't control that. Like, even if I were to edit, which I will never fucking do, the day that I take time to edit this fucking show, hell no. But let's just say that I did. Okay, so their audio is soft. I'd have to crank their levels, right? And all you're going to hear is a hiss every time that they talk, because I'm using the audio from Zoom as opposed to, per se, and it's not everyone. It just depends, that interview was mammoth, at least for this show. And, not that I was nervous about the guests at all, not to toot, but like I was, a couple people asked me, oh, you got that giant interview today? I'm like, yes, sir. You nervous? No, sir. The only thing I'm nervous about is how it sounds, because I don't give a fuck if I'm awful, but at least I'm going to sound good while sounding awful. And a couple of them just like, oh, the video is pretty raw. It's like, yeah, I recorded it from Zoom and fucking uploaded it on YouTube. Stupid. That's the first time I've done that. I don't even know the legality of all that. Can I record my shit from Zoom and then just upload it to YouTube? Is that all right? I don't know. I don't watch YouTube video. Oh, it's got to be okay. It doesn't, it's got to be okay. But anyway, you didn't take any time to edit. That's another thing. Video editing? No. And that's how I started. That's how I got my passion for filmmaking in general, and moved out to Los Angeles and failed and all that other stuff was editing. And the day that I take time to edit what I do, because I just find this so, like, it's cool to promote something. Like, it's cool to chat with people, because I think we are trending towards a time where face-to-face or just good conversation is going by the wayside. Tell me I'm wrong. And I ain't no fossil either, That doesn't make me a fossil, because I just think that feels in a lot of ways, because we have all these avenues to connect, it's kind of, made connecting not as good. I just prefer to talk to people. I prefer to see people and have those conversations. So that portion's cool. But, what I do, it's kind of silly. I talk about movies. Speaking of silly, as you see on your dial, split second, an MVD rewind release. Yeah, we just took a right turn. Fuck all that noise. I mean, you got what I'm saying. I'm not going to the higher ups. I'm not going to take the time to video edit or edit the show at all and adjust levels. If they come in good. If they don't, I don't get money either way. That's another thing too. I think one of them had mentioned, when you just get some other equipment. Are you fucking nuts? I don't get paid for this shit. I do it for the love of cinema, babe. For the love of cinema. Oh, I remember when somebody tried to take that phrase and make it their own. I was like, you don't get to do that. Anyway. I'm not buying $400 or $500 worth of equipment or whatever the fuck it would take to make the show sound better, so that I can not have $500 and a lot of time Wasted. Not wasted. It's sometimes I look back on how long I've done certain shows, and it doesn't, they don't. A lot of them don't need to be as long as they do. I am passionate. If the movie's making it to the show, 99.999% of the time, it's because I want to. I think it's fun, and sometimes you get a chance to, get fun and a bunch of interviews with people that worked on it and whatever that makes it even more fun. And you go, oh, that's how you did that? It was all that fucking latex and rubber? That's what he was wearing for fucking 15 hours a day? Oh. So, and I understand that I'm a nerd and that's not cool to everyone, but, I fucking love MVD Rewind for what they're doing. So I don't mind coming and chatting about it. So, but they're not the ones I'm referring to in terms of you should check your audios. You should check your bank and see if you want to give me $500? Done. Actually, no. Even if you pay for the new equipment, then that means because you gave it to me, I'm obligated to do it your way. That'll be the day. Nope. Nope. I do this. I do my thing how I like to do my thing. Watch your levels now. Okay. In the year split second, an MVD Rewind release. In the year 2007, global warming and heavy rainfall has left large areas of London flooded. Rookie police officer Dick Durkin, God, I love it, 1992. I'm sure principal photography started on this maybe 89, 90. Script was probably thought of 88. That's such a fucking late 80s, early. Dick Durkin is one of our characters in Split Second. He's the side piece to an even better name, played by Rutger Hauer. Harley Stone. I love this. I think that somewhere on Wikipedia, I don't remember, but I think it said it was a buddy cop movie. Not that it isn't, but to me, it's way more of a horror film than say Bad Boys. And in a lot of ways, the characters in this are I don't know, Bad Boys 2 and 3 weren't all that bad, but I love the chemistry between Harley Stone and Dick Durkin. It is fun to watch. But MVD, I should tell you a little bit more about it, shouldn't I? So, rookie police officer Dick, I'm not spoiling much for you. I'm not giving away how Harley Stone can hear the heartbeat of the mind. I'm not giving away any of that. So I'll tell you a little bit, and then we'll geek out on some of the fucking bonus features. But for those of you that haven't seen it, it's just such a, you have a couple fucking beers and it's comfort food. At least for me, it's comfort food. And every now and then you gotta step off the fucking Minari and nomad land, and you got to go back to normal life. And I did the Oscar thing for a couple months there, and it's all right, we got to have some fun stuff, because boy, Minari's depressing, and boy, Nomad Land was depressing, and boy, Judas and the Black Messiah is depressing. All good movies, but you can only be punched in the gut so many times, especially Nomadland. Nomadland hit me. Oh, fuck. So the fact that I get to talk about Dick Durkin and Harley Stone, whew, breath of fresh air. Not that, even the interview that I had, not that undercover cop, or, undercover punch and gun, a.k.a. undercover versus undercover. Not that, movie's super serious. I mean, in fact, there's some funny aspects to it. But, I mean, again, not in the vein of, a Blade Runner meets Aliens, I believe, is the go-to to describe the 1992 fun classic Split Second with Rutger Hauer and Neil Duncan playing buddy cops. Anyway, it's one of those just fun, and what kind of prophetic in a way, right? Global warming. I mean, we were a little off 2008 London. I mean, we kind of steamrolled past that, and London's not flooded. So, but I'm glad that was in those exteriors in the beginning to illustrate that global warming has flooded London. Great stuff. Anyway, Let's try this for a third time. Rookie police officer Dick Durkin is assigned to partner with Harley Stone, a burnt-out and highly cynical veteran homicide detective. Yep, good old classic. The cynical veteran homicide detective. Kid, there ain't nothing you're going to show me that I ain't seen before. You know, shit like that. Arguably the most played character in the history of characters. Fucking a homicide detective. You know, Law and Order and all the. Just think of how many people has played a homicide detective in media history. Highly cynical veteran homicide detective who, according to his command officer, survives on anxiety, coffee, and chocolate. He truly does. Rutger Hauer does in this. He needs his coffee, he needs his chocolate, and goddammit, give him some anxiety. And after being unable to prevent the death of his partner Foster by a serial killer 3 years previous. Wait a minute. Let's back this up. According to his commanding officer, survives on anxiety, coffee, and chocolate after being unable to prevent the death of his partner Foster by a serial killer 3 years ago. But that serial killer has never left him. Do you know what I'm saying? But he's still around, this serial killer. He haunts Harley Stone. How is this not fun? How is this not... I don't... And it's... There's moments... For the most part, it's played straight, which I love. Because I think all too often... I think like if this were made now with like a CG monster, I don't know. I think it would just... There would be elements of people's performances that were just completely over the top, and I just like it back in the day when you play things straight. And of course practical effects, which this is huge in this. Well, sort of huge. It's the payoff. I mean, this is one of these good old-fashioned monster movies in the sense where you only see frames of the GD killer throughout until it reveals a monster. But we used to do that shit so effectively, and now because we can CG it up a little bit, sometimes we don't take the time. I mean, fuck, we don't even take time on fucking bullet hole, like actual squibs anymore. We do CG bullets when they hit a chest, a head, or whatever. Fucking annoying. I know it's cheaper and shit, but fuck, man. Like, I remember sitting down and watching Rob Zombie, who makes violent films, fucking in a CG bullet massacre at the end of 3 from Hell, and I was just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Like, we can't, I know it's cheaper, I know it's safer, I know all these things. I just think we should keep certain things, and it would be more fun. You know, we don't get Tremors and shit anymore. We don't get monster movies like Split Second and Tremors. You know what? I got to talk about Tremors, too. I think I'm going to have old Kyle Brule on from I Know Movies and You Don't to talk about Tremors, arguably one of my favorite. It would be in my 10, for sure. I can watch that movie over and over and over and never get tired of it. And same with this one. I think I watched Split Second, so when I got it, the gentleman over at MVD that was nice enough to send me this and a host of others to review, it's just so fun. I don't mind doing it. Don't mind sharing the love. Stop it. Now the murders have begun again, and Stone is obsessed with the case. An Oxford-educated psychologist, Durkin, is ordered to stick with Stone at all times to report any unstable behavior. After investigating the scenes of several killings, they appear no closer in identifying the killer, because he's elusive like that, 3 goddamn years. Although Stone seems to share some sort of psychic connection with him. Their only clues are that the murders seem to be linked with the lunar cycle. And that the killer takes an organ from each victim. All practical effects, too, baby. All practical effects. Apparently, he takes these organs to eat them. Lab analysis of blood left during one encounter shows that the killer possesses multiple recombinant DNA strands, somehow having absorbed the DNA of his victims. Complicating matters is the return of Michelle, played by Kim Cattrall, Kim Cattrall Foster's wife, who Stone had an affair with. Yep. That whoever wrote that doesn't make any sense. Complicating matters is the return of Michelle Foster's wife. What? Who writes this stuff? Anyway, Kim Cattrall's in it. I heard that Rutger might have been a little bit of a problem on set with Kim Cattrall. Very attractive woman. And I guess occasionally that got... No, who knows how bad it got because it was back in the day, back in the 80s, so who knows how uncomfortable it got. But I guess Rutger really loved Kim Cattrall. Those eyes that kill you. While attempting to figure out the killer's motives and patterns, Stone and Duncan begin to bond as Duncan loosens up and starts to understand Stone. Because Stone, of course, this is a late 80s, early 90s movie. This monster, this fucking whatever, Stone is babbling on about because he hasn't slept and only eats chocolate. Whatever he's babbling on about, it's real. Because that's what we did in the 70s and 80s. And it's fucking real. It's not a man dressed as a wolf that was confused for being a werewolf or what have you. But I don't know why all of a sudden I referred to The Wolf of Snow Hollow. That movie's goddamn great. But you know what I'm saying. It's back in the 80s. Or back in the 90s, early 90s. Fucking Tales from the Crypt 90s. You know, it... Of course he's not crazy at all. And Duncan soon learns that. Anywho, you want to know why I love MVD Rewind? There is a Japanese unedited version on this. Fucking goddamn great. It made me... So, what was I had some stupid non sequitur. So... It reminded me back in the day of the VHS where we could sell a lot of stuff with its dark graininess, and of course that's why people who pick up MVD Rewind, buy a lot of this stuff. I mean, shit. I got a couple of action films, Lionheart and Double Impact. It's just old and shitty looking, but you don't get to, and I like that in terms of films like this. Like not a whole lot of shit that you see that's, there's the zipper on the man's fucking costume or what have you. It just makes it more fun. Now, of course, you can't, you watch as many movies as I have, or fucking I know movies and you don't, Kyle Brule, you get to the point where, whatever. I do think that for films like this, old VHSs, it's too bad that they don't make. I mean, of course you can get them, but I'm not paying fucking $400 for a VHS player. Mine died a few years ago. That's it. Fucking, we're calling it. And I'm kind of getting to the point in my life where I'm becoming a minimalist. So the less shit I have and the less shit that I have to move, because most of it, you don't need. Anyway, it's experiences over things, boys and girls. Or non-binary, I apologize. It reminds me of a time, and it's fun. It's fun, a bit of fun. I watched this movie 3 times. I watched the new transfer, awesome. I watched it with the commentary, awesome, and then I watched the Japanese version. But the Japanese version had me all fucked up in nostalgic feeling. I was just like, oh man, we don't do this anymore. And to its credit, we don't need to do this anymore. You gotta evolve a bit. You can't fucking, stay back with the fucking, we did, I think Stranger Things just kicked off this weird, oh, remember when times was simple? Yeah, but there's also a lot of dumb shit. There's still a lot of dumb shit, and, the further we go back, the less cool it gets, I can assure you. But people are always especially horror fans, I don't fucking get it. They're just oh man, why don't you make grainy shit? There's shit out there like that. It just doesn't work like it did back in the day because it doesn't look like it. Half the time, the practical effects it's pretty few and far between. We got some good ones out there, Psycho Gorman was fucking great in terms of practical effects and doing costumes and characters, like, it almost, at some points, it felt like Labyrinth with Bowie, and, like, the characters. I loved it. Fucking Psycho Gorman was awesome. But, you know, you got to evolve with the times. Now, having said that, this would be a fun one to watch on VHS, which is why it was a breath of fresh air to see the Japanese unedited version on the MVD Rewind Collection Blu-ray disc that you can get right now. It was nice to see it like that, because like the transfer of the transfer on the Blu-ray of the regular theatrical, it's great. It looks really fucking good. But you know, we can't continue, and I'm more or less bashing the horror fans. I don't know why all of a sudden I'm bashing the horror fans. I think they're the ones that just, like, there's this failure to, like, you know, one foot in front of the other. You can still like other shit. You don't have to paint your hair fucking black and fucking you can be goth inside, but you know, you're 35, time to go to work. I don't know what to do. I just feel like horror fans are just, like, obsessed with this VHS thing, and it's like, yeah, dude, it was cool, but, like, you know, time to move the fuck on. And that's coming from someone who says Freddy it looks better on VHS, or there's more enjoyment. Of course it looks, I don't know, no. It looks better on VHS. I was just thought of Dream Warriors and the marionette sequence. That does not look good on the Blu-ray transfer. I'm sorry, and if that offends you, go fuck yourself, because you're an idiot. It looks terrible. It's supposed to look terrible. Yeah, but it can look more terrible. It can look terrible, but it can look cool while doing it. And VHS is the cool whatever. But, you know, I just loved seeing the Japanese unedited version. I was just like, oh, this is fun. Even on my third time watching it, because at that point, like I said, the commentary, and I'm just like, oh, fuck yeah, man, this should happen more often, you know. But that's not to say that you should do it all the time, even in 2021. You know, I think of something like The Lighthouse that didn't necessarily go for the grainy, shitty looking effect to sell their monster or whatever, but I was annoyed by the 4:3 throughout. And I think, you know, you want to be filmmakers that are out there. You want to use a 4:3 ratio. Sorry, norms. 4:3 is the ratio that you on the screen. But you want to shoot in 4:3 for a dream sequence or a fucking flashback. Fine, whatever. In the case like The Lighthouse, like, I liked The Lighthouse, I did, but I was just so annoyed that they did 4:3, because you don't need to do that for a full movie anymore. You have so much good shit that you can use, so much better cameras that you can sell so much stuff, the vastness of stuff. Nope, you can cheat more and it can be more horrific at a 4:3. I disagree. I think you have to try harder as a filmmaker. That's yeah. And I don't think you want to do that. The Lighthouse was cool. It was fine. I think me and my sister went and saw that. My sister was quite annoyed with me that she had to sit through that. But, you know, the story and the cat, I mean, Robert Pattinson, I used to kind of shit on him a little bit. He's not so bad these days. I don't know why. There's something about Tenet that I was like, all right. And then Lighthouse came before Tenet, but I think the mixture of Lighthouse and Tenet, I'm like, all right, man. I've seen a spectrum out of you, you know, two polar opposite characters. Okay. But you don't need to do that for an entire film. Stop being pretentious. There's no call for it. In fact, be pretentious with a fucking wide angle lens 8K, you know, or don't. Do whatever the fuck you want. What else is on this besides the Japanese unedited version? Yeah, we had the commentary with film historian Mike Leader and filmmaker Arne Venema. We had an interview. Dude, there's so many interviews. I'm sitting there at one point, I was just like, Jesus, how many more do we have? But we have like the old school featurette, and I think I just had nerd overload. That's what it was, between the Cliff Wallace talking about the creature effects and the composer. What was his name? Steven? Was his name Steven? Yeah, Steven Parsons was the composer. It got to the point where I was like, holy fuck, I've been watching the bonus features for 2 hours now. You could make the argument that no one should watch 2 hours of bonus features of Split Second in one day. Read a book or go take a run or something. You can finish it. It's just got to be tomorrow. If you've already watched the film 3 times, and I think so. I watched the Japanese. I've said it 15 times. So I watched the uncut version, the Japanese uncut version, and then I went right into the bonus features. So that was like a quarter of a day spent watching Split Second, nerding out on Split Second with Dick Durkin and Harley Stone, Neil Duncan, Rutger Hauer, and Kim Cattrall. Yeah, I guess. Well, I don't even want to ruin the bonus features to you, because it seems like, for the most part, everybody's on the same page. But I do feel like there is conflicting stories about Rutger Hauer. I feel like on one hand we heard he's a very nice gentleman, and then on the other hand we heard that he might not have been, in terms of really falling for his co-star Kim Cattrall. Who else do you have in this? You got Kim Cattrall, Alastair Duncan, Michael J. Pollard. DP was Clive Tickner. You got a interview with him on there. Yeah, creature effects were Stephen Norrington and Cliff Wallace. 2 people, Stephen Parsons and Francis Haynes, did the music. Yeah. And, of course, the director, Tony Maylam, and written by Gary Scott Thompson. Yep. And you got interviews with a third of those people. Awesome that they were willing to come on the show, or come on the disc and talk about a 20-year-old movie. I don't know. I think it's pretty awesome. Just because, you never know how people are going to... That's one cool aspect about the horror crowd. They do... A lot of those guys do like coming back and talking about that shit. Because, horror's different than, obviously, drama or whatever, in the sense that it's very easy to bond on horror, because we're all kind of, we can bond over fear and grab each other and whatever. And you just don't have that in other genres. And I think you see interviews like that far more often, where people that worked on a film like Split Second that are willing to come on and talk. Whereas, is Steven Spielberg going to do come on and do like a 40-year for Schindler's? Actually, Steven Spielberg probably would talk about Schindler's List all these years later. Actually, did Schindler's List come out in 92 too? Is that just a fucking happenstance that I said that? I have to know. I have to know if I just randomly fucking said Schindler's List and that also came out in Oh, come on. You can't type and hold the mic at the same... There. Oh, 93. Fuck. Shit. That would have been fucking weird. But is Steven really going to be like, yes, let's talk about the Holocaust some more? I don't... Maybe he would. He probably would. But it doesn't happen, all the like this sort of stuff. Especially, like, you can see these people, be it the composer, Steven, or... Laurie Borg, who was the line producer, or Cliff Wallace, or Clive Tickner, the DP, the cinematographer. They're all just like, yeah, this is a fun fucking... For the most part, I think everybody was. This is a fun fucking movie to work on. Like, this is old school. Back to, like, the set pieces, we just don't, like... This stuff it's all real, mate. It's not some nerd at a computer. What am I talking about? I'm some nerd at a computer right now. But, it's much easier to believe. It's much easier to convince me that there's a giant fucking monster roaming the subway tunnels of fucking in the alleys of a flooded 2008 London. And it's Blade Runner meets aliens. It's a good way to put it. I think I just feel weird about it because Rutger Hauer is in Blade Runner. I don't know why, because he's in it, and also the creature has some alien qualities to, I suppose, But I also think it kind of ruins the shit. And I know half of you that listen to the show haven't seen Blade Runner and you haven't seen Aliens, which is a goddamn crime, let me tell you. Well, that's okay, you're new, you watch other stuff, that's fine, you watch Twitch, that's cool. It's seriously, whatever. But I do think that if some of you, not all of you, you go back and watch something like this after a fucking IPA or two, and you'll be like, this is silly and fun, and you would be most certainly correct. All right, 30 minutes on fucking Split Second is enough. The movie's only 90 minutes. And now what I should do is I should do another 90 minutes on how awesome MVD Rewind is. Especially for them taking the time to send me some really awesome shit to take a look at. And actually all stuff that I've seen before, with maybe the exception of Drive. I don't know if I've seen that with Mark Dacascos. With the exception of him, but like the Versus I got, and Mallrats, and even though I swore to never watch Mallrats ever again, I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. Long story short, so they gave me an Arrow video release of Mallrats to take a look at. Long story short, back in high school, fucking one of our friends had gotten moved out of his parents' house and got an apartment at a very young age. He was working and making enough money at like 17, 18, I think it was, whatever. And we would always go to his apartment after school, and we would watch one of two movies, Mallrats or Half Baked. And dude, we watched Mallrats so many fucking times that I was just like, same with Half Baked. I couldn't tell you the last time that I watched Half Baked start to finish, even as a goof, even if I was blazed out of my mind. It's just not appealing. And it's of course it's you could put it in the list of stoner movies of all time. Fine. My personal favorite's Pineapple Express. I think that's way funner than Half Baked, but here nor there. So I'm actually looking forward to watching Mallrats, because it's had to been a decade since I watched Mallrats. I just was like, nope, I don't. It's a great movie. I can't do it anymore. So that'll be fun. And Versus, holy fuck. If you guys do not know what Versus is, that movie is bad. Who cares? When I get to it, I'll get to it. 30 minutes, and I can't even fucking help myself. Yeah. Check out MVD Rewind and see what they offer, dude. They just have some silly fun movie. And when I say silly, not Sharknado silly. That shit's stupid to me. I just can't stand it. I don't know why. I can't even make it through half of the first Sharknado. This is the silly shit that I like. Whatever, Russ. Whatever. Ellis Cinema. ELLISSINEMA. Ellis Cinema Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Soon, I'm not going to be running the social media side of things anymore. So, I've had it. I've hired someone to do it. Because it just annoys the fuck out of me. MVD Rewind. Split Second. Hours of bonus features to nerd out and giggle at. Check them out sooner than later. Ellis Cinema.